I'm Judy Vitale here with your weekly horoscopes at work for spring 2014. The dates we're covering today will be March 17th through 23rd. And I am happy to announce that in addition to the sun entering Aries and starting spring, we are also going to have a lot of good time to get our work done this week. Spring comes on Thursday. I am actually getting 12:58. The book says 12:57, but when you run the chart, it's really 12:58 if you're that kind of person who wants to balance the egg or just do a really big happy dance at that point in time. For those of us who have been in winter, man, it has been a rough one. So just the promise that the planet is turning into a situation that's going to give us a little bit of warmer air currents, let's go for that. That's on Thursday. So basically the beginning of spring in terms of astrology. I mean, we're talking about the physical aspects of it. In astrology, it's the new year. This really is the time when we start over again. This is the impulse energy that brings the grass out of the ground, that brings the trees to grow, the flowers to grow, and for us to grow as people. So it's really a good time to dedicate yourself to being in harmony with the universe and doing good stuff. I looked at the equinox chart based in Washington, D.C., and to be honest, folks, it looks a bit tumultuous. Because of that, I would encourage people to really get in touch with their spiritual grounding. There could be a lot of different events occurring all around us over this next year and especially next month. So let's really try to get centered and grounded and focused on positive outcomes, and then we can do the work that it takes to make those things happen. Let's go now day to day. Monday, we've got the moon in Libra. Of course, everybody's agreeable during the moon in Libra, but they never really like to make decisions either. Monday's going to be somewhat testy with the moon square Jupiter, which gives everybody like that Libra tendency of wishy-washiness. For those of you with Libra, don't get mad. I have a Libra moon, so I have to own up to it too. But there is this thing of like you want it all, and people don't want to make a choice because then they lose the rest of everything else. And then, so Jupiter's going to magnify that. But with the opposition to Uranus and the square to Pluto, there's just like a lot of excitability. Maybe other people are not going to be very receptive to the idea of someone not making decisions. So that's Monday. Tuesday might be somewhat easier to do business. I would say that, except the moon's going to come into contact with Mars. Venus is going to be in a friendly aspect, our way of expressing ourselves with Uranus. So people will be very quick to come to terms with their friendly aspects and have inspirational things to say. Just don't buy into them too much because, of course, people will also try to get what they want. They're always into that. So that's the way it is. Void, of course, moon from 9:07 p.m. on Tuesday until 5:13 a.m. on Wednesday when we get the Scorpio moon. And now we get an imaginative flavor to our mood to work with. On Wednesdays, great for creative activities with a trine to Mercury and a trine to Neptune. And even if you're not doing something that you would characterize as being a creative art, you might be doing something very practical and find a creative approach with which to approach it. So go for that. On Thursday, the moon stays in Scorpio, and it could be nice in that we're going to have the moon trine Jupiter, but we're going to avoid, of course, moon 11:11 a.m. And the moon is also going to conjoin Saturn. And it's actually going to transit it, so it will block out Saturn to some degree. So it's like more Jupiter than Saturn, so more optimism than restriction. So we can work with that and expand our efforts, but at the same time, we have to be careful not to go too far. Okay? On Friday, the moon goes into Sagittarius. People will get a little more bouncy and happy and all that kind of stuff. And that's also going to involve Mercury and Neptune because there will be a square aspect from the moon. So again, the imagination, and it might even be paying the price for being a little bit too free with our imaginations. You'll have to see how that works out for you. But guard against this by always trying to think through everything that you do. So yeah, this is a really creative way to build this, but is it going to stay standing? That's the question that we'll have to be asking. When the weekend comes, the Mercury and Neptune will get more direct as the two planets get into a definite way of squaring one. What am I saying? No, Mercury conjunct Neptune. That's going to be on Saturday. So that's a really dreamy kind of thing going on. Because, you know, Mercury does go into Pisces on Monday. So I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. There's going to be this general shift of dreaminess for the whole week, and that's where I was getting that from. So on Saturday we have Mercury conjunct Neptune and the moon in a sextile to Venus and also conjunct Neptune. So there's like, you know, or in a square to Neptune rather. And so there's this extension of the dreaminess and the hopes and the, you know, people. It's just maybe a good day to sit back and enjoy your friendships and your family and things of that nature. And then on Sunday, it's kind of like do whatever you feel like day. Because the moon's going to be void, of course, there's no reason to make any kind of concrete plan. If you do, you're going to have to be very careful about following through with the logistics on it. That will get easier at around 4:03 p.m. when the moon moves into Capricorn. So that's what we have for this week. Remember, Mercury moving into Pisces on Monday at 6:24 in the evening. Happy St. Patty's Day. Don't get too happy because, boy, when we start to not think very clearly, guess what happens if we're out partying? But maybe most people got that done over the weekend. And then, of course, on Thursday, it's spring! And don't you want a reading and figure out what's going to be happening for you as the astrological new year begins? Okay, if you would like to have a private video reading with me, go to readthestars.com. Click on private video readings, fill out the form with your date, time, and place of birth. And I will respond to you requesting $19.95, and you'll pay me either by PayPal, personal check, whatever makes you happy. And then I will deliver to you a 5 to 7 minute personal reading of your chart, answering 1 to 2 of your questions that you have about your astrology and what's going on and what your future might hold. So, in the meantime, if you have any other questions, concerns, or comments that you'd like to send my way, please do so. You can find me at Judy, Judi, at readthestars.com.